why you're moving to short film at this point in your career.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting genesis. I think the difference or the contrast of being, I suppose, taking on what seems like a creative entity within an industry or within the construct of what narrative is, but being on the other side of the camera. And what I found very interesting about, sort of, I suppose, my genesis is that as much as you may feel like you are creating, and this is from a polar opposite, from in front of the camera, there is, unless you are really involved in the fabric of telling a story, and this is just from my interpretation, you want to feel like the vessel. And that's what I gained, because in my years of being an actor, I would look at people who had that creative sense of license and who had the freedom to tell a story that really, really mattered to them, and it made them happy. And it also spoke truly to the authenticity of the narrative and what they were really trying to create. There's a real directness and clarity that I felt honestly missing. And this is no disrespect to the trade, because I've learned and I'm still in love with the trade of acting. But there's a compartmentalization that the creator can have, that the artist in front of the camera is a part of the time. So that's, I suppose, reason for the movement into trying to create narrative and be a filmmaker myself. But I've been wanting to do it for a long time. And I don't know, are there any actors here? Dango, congratulations. And it's a great, fantastic thing being an actor, and I love it. And it's the microcosm that you create at best is a small world within the story that you are, and you're serving the story. There are different mediums of which you might have more application, or you yield more fruit from giving more. So there's no real but. I was just saying but at the end of it because I wanted to carry this speaker. So I started my I suppose path or the journey into filmmaking. I've been stopping. I wrote, been stopping, and then I just got it out one night. I had 3 glasses of wine, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I sat on my bathroom, I wrote on my computer, and I just carried on. I didn't let my fingers stop. And I wrote the first script that I'm currently editing. We were in production for 3 days. There was an extended day, as there always probably. I hear that wasn't an aberration. There was an extended day. When my last show as an actor, we started filming the last season of, and I had to shoot the short film within a window of time because we had a facial hair issue. I grew some facial hair because I was in front of the camera as well. I had to shave it off before. There's a long story in this, but ultimately it's not a sponsorship for Gillette. However, what I mean by that is that there was a finite degree of time by which you have to create. And I know that always is what is the case. Is that every time I talk to a filmmaker, you're like, we are constantly facing the peril, the obstacle, the challenge of time. But what I also hear, and I don't know about you two up here, but what I also hear is that the aspect of time means that you have something that is challenging you to get it done in time. And that's what, I suppose, in a long-winded way, I am constantly fighting that battle of getting something out, creating, because maybe the window's open, right? But when the window is saying, listen, time is shutting, you have a challenge, you have somebody who's saying, you've got to get that done, or it won't be done at all. And in a way, that sort of paper tiger of time helps you get stuff done. And that's what it did for me with Exerpt, which is the short film that I'm editing at the moment. Grimshaw, which is playing next weekend, I think it's at 2 or 2:30. That was shot also within a very, very fine degree of time. We shot that over 3 days as well. I'm saying like to one of the producers can stand up in the background.
All right, that's great, Elyes.